Good morning, everyone. It's Lee Andrews with Akathame. Welcome to, what is this, Voice Chat Friday number 4 or 5? I've lost track, but we've got Shyamala Prayaga with us. And for those of you who don't know Shyamala, she is the founder of DA Academy, which is a conversational AI design training organization. And she's also the head of Ford's autonomous vehicles conversational AI design component. Boy, that's a mouthful early in the morning. So welcome again, Shyamala, and thank you so much for taking the time with all of our viewers. So, Shyamala, today we're going to talk about a sensitive subject, boot camps. So you hail from your experience. You were the first UX designer for Amazon in India. And that was before UX was cool. It was just about becoming sexy, but now it's, really with the cool kids. So talk to me about your experience with boot camps and what your perception of them is in general.
So that's an interesting question, Lee. So there are a couple of things. Coming from a UX background and having no formal background in user experience, like I do not have any formal training, I would say. I did not go to any boot camps, and it was all self-learning for me. But I did mentor for a lot of different companies. I would not name them, but these are all big, UX bootcamp companies. So one of the things what I saw with the boot camps is, first of all, everyone is welcome. You just have, heard of sheeps kind of thing, like people. And at any given point, I used to have like 20, 25 mentees and who were ready to speak with me. And then, there were days like weekends, I would just be spending hours and hours talking to each of them. So from the company standpoint, it's all about, like how many people can we just get in and how can we mint money out of this entire experience. From the mentors who are actually training, it's not about genuinely thinking about how am I helping this person. But for them, it was more about, what, I have 25 students. So for 25 students, even if I'm getting like $40 an hour for each student, I'm getting this much amount of money. So for mentees, it was mentors also, it was the same kind of thing. So they were looking at numbers. They were not looking at quality or the experience or the real purpose of, why am I mentoring? That was the second problem. Now from the person itself who's taking the training, well, they are into the program because the career experts have convinced them like this is the best course for you and you have to do this course. And when they are doing the course, sometimes they feel like, what, I'm not good for this one and my skill sets are not really the match. And I saw a lot of drop offs. And the success ratio, like if I had like 20 students, maybe towards the end of the month, I would have 4 or 5 people who would genuinely stick with the course. Everyone else would either take a break or they would just quit the course because they realize this is not for me. And this is taking too much time or this is taking too much effort and I'm not ready for all of these things. I don't have time. So many people would actually quit that way. Now,
Wow.
the other thing what I saw with the boot camps were, well, uh, you were not more of a mentee, but you were more of, like just checking the assignments and making sure everything is fine. And more like, I don't know exactly what to call, but when teachers are just grading students, that's what we were doing. And that is all, like this is all a money minting kind of experience with boot camps. There is no actual learning which is happening because you are given a bunch of, like training materials which is out there, and most of those training materials are just a lot of readings from external sources, a lot of readings in general, but there is no clear career track or no clear path, like you have to do this first and then you have to go here. And how is all of your different kind of experiences which you are applying in there, be it research, be it collaboration, be it networking. They had some guidelines, but that's it. So if you look at the overall course, there were very few people who would actually complete a boot camp in first place. But the second thing which used to happen, or which generally happens in boot camps, is success ratio of the students who actually got job. There were so many students from different background who I would mentor. Some used to come from design background, some used to come from graphic design background. There was a student who came from music background, and was very vested and very interested and all sorts of things. And there was one person, people actually came from architecture background, so I had students from all over different backgrounds in these bootcamp programs. But if you look at the success ratio of how many people are actually placed versus how many people are actually still struggling, believe me or not, the ratio is like only 20% of the overall people who enter into these boot camps are actually hired by companies.
20%?
Only 20%, and which is surprising because, the musician I'm talking about, he was really interested, very vested, and was doing great stuffs. But see, the thing is, he is doing what he has been asked to do. He has been given a set of assignments or some things, and he's doing that. Mentors are just grading and saying, good, 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 everything looks good. That's it. Maybe because sometimes when people give critical feedback, these people get offended. Students are like, no, this is too much critical for me, and then they ask for a mentor replacement. So this has all become such a minting kind of experience. Like, it's all money minting. The biggest challenge with all of these things is no one is actually genuinely caring about the skill sets which someone needs to develop to create, change their career. So the musician I'm talking about, he did the course, and then he was forced into also doing some voice related course through these companies, and he did that too. And even now, it's been like what, 4 or 5 years, ever since I mentored him. He's still struggling to find a job, and there are so many people like him who are in the same position who has not got a job. And I know so many people, like, I keep in touch with all of my mentees, like through LinkedIn and through other sources, and I'm seeing the success ratio. There is no clear, I would say, direction in terms of how these companies are thinking about everything. They do have career coaches nowadays. Like, some of these companies have career coaches, and they are also saying all of the stuffs. But I feel like, because the bar is so low, anyone can just enter. And these, like career advisors and marketing folks, they are just, convincing everyone like this is the right course for you. You should just join this course. We are the best. We are the leaders. We have tie-ups with the universities. Blah 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 blah. And then they try to just bring in folks. That's it. So in reality, there is no learning or the experience which is important. So I feel like most of these bootcamps have become that kind of thing. Money minting, that's it.
Yeah. So the four things that I picked up are that if I was looking for a training program, a learning program. So here's the thing: no school is going to guarantee a job unless they actually put that in writing in some way, shape, form, or another. So I think that's the first thing, that expectations really need to be set very clear. That even if the school offers career placement services or career guidance, which most do, even at the college level, right? They want to make sure that their graduates are getting jobs, right? So we do everything that we can in education. I'm a former high school teacher and a former post-secondary school teacher who was the head of placement in that school. So I know there was no guarantee, but our placement rates were really, really high for for these four reasons. Number one, we were very selective about the students that came into the program. We had teachers who were also mentors. They were full-time at doing this. And the feedback, just like you're going to any college, right? You're going to get feedback. If you can't hack it, don't go to that program. That, I think, is one of the criteria to get into the program. And then the last part is, how well are you prepared as an individual? From your interviewing skills, your presence, your capabilities. Just having the skills isn't enough to get you a job. So it's that level of truth that has to be spoken throughout that entire process. So it really does land on the individual in the end, right? In the end.
Absolutely.
What I think is important is that the curiosity that someone has to learn something new, that's a good sign right there, right? So if they're strong enough to have that learning capability, don't you think, that they want to do something with it, that's great. But Shyamala, I know people who have 4 and 5 degrees, advanced degrees, and they're struggling to find a job.
That's the thing, rightly, exactly the point. So first of all, like you mentioned, like there has to be proper vetting when you are. So there are so many schools now. There are so many schools now which does all of these things. I don't want to name any of them, but then tons of them who are doing same kind of things, and they are producing hundreds and thousands of UX designers out there, saying, you know what, our course is the best. But then what's happening after that? Like, are you really keen on their interest? Are you really looking at how they are progressing and all of those things? So in the academy, we are really trying to be very selective about who we choose. We don't have hundreds and thousands of students at once. We pick one or two students, and that's absolutely fine. But the students we pick, or the students who are enrolled in the course, they are the best. They have like the right kind of mindset which is required to be in the voice user experience field, because they understand all of the aspects, they are vested, they want to do the course, they have the curiosity, they are open to learning things, and all of the right skill sets which is required.
Wait a minute, Shyamala. This sounds to me like you are grooming these people to be hired. Like you're actually hiring people to get into your program is what it sounds like. Like people that you would hire are the ones who are making it into this program.
Absolutely.
So that right there is a differentiator. So here's something else. I think that I had to say, I in 2010 is when I got exposed to user experience, and I didn't know how to spell the word. And so I went to a 2-week, very intensive boot camp, very intensive. At the end of that boot camp, I was not ready for a job. That 2-week, I was a no, and I admitted that. And most of the people in my class were not looking for a job. They were already part of an organization. They needed to add skills to their capabilities in order to stay or advance within that company. So I think that we need to look at this in two ways. People who are looking to change careers, either who are working or who are not working, right? So it just depends on where you are, I believe, in that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'll tell you a story why we started the academy. So when I was working on some of the conversational AI strategy work, we wanted to hire a couple of conversational designers for the project. So there were two options: either hire folks from outside who are already in conversation design, or train people in the company who can actually help with some of the conversation design stuff. So we started looking out, and there were no great resources out there, like no great candidates out there. So we interviewed a couple of folks, nothing was working out for us. And then uh, very few people were there who were really good, but then they are with the big companies, right? But most of the people who claim themselves to be a conversational designers were not really conversational designers. They just learned a couple of things from here and there, and they think they just created a skill, and they think they have the right skill sets to become a designer. There's nothing wrong with that thing, but they did not have the entire experience which a company would need to have to become a designer, or to help with voice or conversational projects. So we actually uh, trained two of our colleagues, from UX background and from content writing background, because that is what people say. Like, conversational AI folks should have some of these skill sets. So we were like, okay, let's try it out. So both of these folks we trained, through whatever conversational AI courses which was available out there. There are like quite a few, like one or two courses out there. So we just picked one, and they did the training. And it was a 4 weeks training, 4 to 6 weeks training. It was not intense kind of thing. It was just a bunch of videos and then quiz towards the end, and then there was a final exam or something like that. So when the entire program was done, I was very confident, like, yes, my team will be now ready to start building personas with me, and my team will be ready to start actually building out the conversational AI stuffs with me, and it will be all fun. And I had this great vision, which we were like, yes, we are all rock and roll now. So, but then what happened? They did the course, and they were like, okay, where do we start?
Now what?
Now what? Where do we start?
That's
And
exactly what I said. That's exactly what I said.
yeah, and then I was like, well, I don't know what to say now, because we did a course, and even after that, you are saying that, hey, Shamla, I don't know what to do, or how do we proceed? Like, yes, I learned all these great stuffs. This is all good. Now I understand some of the processes. Now I understand some of the how to, like, the persona is required, blah blah blah, but I don't know how to approach a persona. I don't know how to start this thing. What is the process? I don't know anything. It was very very high level, like some sprinkles all over, but I did not feel like I've learned something. And that is when I was like, something needs to be done about this thing. And with my experience and user experience, like 22 years now, and 8 years of that solely in voice, I was like, you know what, I can do it. And that is when I decided to start the academy. And I was like, you know what, I will create the best possible program, because I'm not here to mint money out of this course. That is my last goal, or that is not even my goal. My goal here is, whoever wants to genuinely get into conversation design, they should be successful. I don't want them to take a course and then towards the end they are like, I have a piece of paper, but I don't know how to apply it. I don't want that. I want that throughout the program you are applying your learnings. So by the end, it doesn't feel like you are applying anything anymore, or you have to apply, because throughout the course you have done that and you are already ready for the job. And just like yesterday, one of my students, Dalveen, was saying, it doesn't feel like a course to me. It feels like I'm an employee with the Digital Assistant Academy, which was a
Wow.
for me, because that is exactly the feeling we want to give you. We want to give you the feeling that you are making progress with the course, and towards the end, it's not like, what should I do next? What should I do next? Or how do I get a job? It's like you already know what you have done. You already gained the experience which you require to proceed further in your career.
So I think that this is a very important point to make. If you can, if you don't feel as though you're taking a training program and you're getting on the job training, that's a whole other level. And I will tell you that is exactly how the school that I taught in, the post-secondary school, and our program was all about, is that you had to be employable at the end. And that's why our placement ratio was so high. It was in the 90s. And it was a great experience for the teachers, and I can hear it in your voice, Shyamala, that is giving you tremendous pride.
Definitely, every time I talk to the students, or every time I listen to their feedback, I feel great. Every time I look at their assignments, or every time, when we do the design review sessions or any such things, all I'm seeing is a bunch of bright minded people who are already ready for the job. And that is exactly the goal. I want students who come out of the academy to have the right mindset to design the right kind of
Yeah.
products. Now, there are so many challenges with voice interaction design, and we kept speaking about these in the previous topics as well, rightly. Technical understanding of how things work, understanding of how the conversation should be designed. But there are other aspects also, and we touched on privacy once, and we have to bring this topic solely. But there are things like privacy, which you have to think about. You have to think about ethical aspects of things. People ask all sorts of things with their digital assistant, and we were just recently testing out assistant for bot abuse. So there are things like those kind of aspects which people will. So we are not just preparing someone like these are like some skill sets which you should have, but we are preparing students to understand every aspect or touch point which will impact voice interaction or voice experience, and have a design mindset where they can have accessibility by design, privacy by design, ethics by design mindset. And they are thinking about all of these things right from the beginning and not as an afterthought.
So I have to ask this question, because I know that people are going to watch this at some point and say, can I do this? Can I do this? Is this something like, this is pretty intense? This isn't your typical program. So what if somebody says, Shyamala, I don't think I can do this? For me, I would say, well, then you're probably right. So, but for you, what might you do?
I am a very positive person. So, for me, it's always about, even if so this is how I am. I went for interviews, or, even during the job, if my manager used to ask, do you know, Shamla, how to do this? I would say, yes, I know. And I know in the back of my mind, like, I don't even know this concept of technology or something, but I knew that I can gain that skill set. I mean, see, how hard is it for you to learn something? I once got a job just with this mindset, just with this mindset in Coney Solutions. So if you have that growth mindset and if you have that learning mindset, you can definitely do that. But if you come to me with that negative mindset saying, Shamla, I cannot do it, you already are coming with a closed mindset. So you cannot do it no matter how hard I will push or how hard I will convince you, because you have already created this, bubble around you saying, I cannot do it.
Okay,
So,
so we're on the same page. So we're on the same page on that one. Yeah.
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 But someone came to me with this approach saying, yeah, you know what, I can do it. And just, one of my students, Samin, she quit her job to do this course. And yesterday she was saying, you don't know, Shamla, how proud I feel just to quit the job and focus on doing the course. Those are the kind of students I have who are 100% vested in the course. They are putting their everything into it because they want to be successful, and I will help them be successful with no matter what. Like, we'll be there to support the members, and we'll be there to support them throughout, guide them throughout. But if they don't have that mindset, if someone comes to me and says, my office work is taking too much of time and I'm not able to do anything, I'm really sorry about it. So if someone does something like that, then, I cannot force them. I cannot tell them, like, this is what you have to do. All of my students, whoever is in the program, they are so great. They have been so vested. They are putting their everything into the course. Some of them are already doing full-time job and they are giving their weekends or whatever times. Sulekha, thank you so much for that kind feedback that you have given. Sulekha here, she is also one of my students, and she has a family. She has like kids as well. But even with all of those things, she's 100% vested into the course and giving everything to the course she can, and doing justice to it. So this is the kind of environment or culture I want to create with the academy.
And I think you have it. I think it's wonderful. I do want to talk about if people have graduated from boot camps and they're still struggling to find that work. There are several things that you can do and that should be done to help you advance in your career. And sometimes you may need a coach if you're really struggling. There's a little feedback in here, so I'm sorry about that. I'm not sure if you guys are hearing it, if I'm just hearing it, but hopefully, I don't know why that's happening, but pardon us. So anyway, if you're struggling to find work and you have completed a boot camp, I'm going to suggest three things. Number one, don't keep banging your head against the wall trying to do the same thing and expecting a job. You need to get help. And there are plenty of coaches out there. I do know of some who do nothing but focus on the creative, the technology, voice design. Shyamala and I both do, so we're happy to give you those referrals. Just send us a message and we'll give you those referrals. The second thing is that you need to align yourself with 2 to 5 really good recruiters. And when I say really good recruiter, there's sourcers, there's recruiters, there's subject matter expert recruiters, and then there are executive recruiters. I would say look for the subject matter expert recruiters. These are people who could have been practitioners in a previous life in your space or a similar space, and they understand what you do and the impact that you make and can make sure that you are packaged up and presented correctly to get that next job. And then the last part is that you've got to take the initiative every day, send out 5 to 10 some type of communications to hiring managers, to recruiters, to heads of HR teams. You've got to get your name out there because other people are doing it. So there's a lot of competition, yes, but if you've got the portfolio and you've got the drive, and you are ready to have meaty conversations around how you did what you do to get the outcomes that you achieved, then you should have less challenge, right? So it really is taking all of those elements, and we do provide a good bit of that at the academy. That is part of what we're trying to do, is get you ready for that job market in every facet.
Absolutely. So
yeah.
Within the program, there are certain weeks where we have dedicated networking sessions. Like, you just need to talk to the experts, connect with them, meet over coffee, because it should not start networking or meeting with hiring managers or potential companies is not something we have to do towards the end. We have to
Day
constantly
one.
do those things in the course, right? So
Yep.
throughout our course, we have certain weeks where we just do that. We just ask you to do that. Another interesting part of our course is we ask all of our students to volunteer for Open Voice Network, which is the standard, the company where we are trying to build the standards for voice. So when you are already involved and talking with these voice experts day in and day out, you are already part of that network. So you don't need to do anything extra to get into this industry because you are already preparing yourself in all of the aspects. So there's a lot of things which we do in the course, and my students know all the different kind of activities or all the different kind of research. But we are setting our students up for thought leadership from day one, and that is the goal.
So I think that we should be talking. I like this Open Voice Network, and I can't remember his name to save my life, but maybe we can get him on one of our Friday morning chats. I think that it's really important too because this Open Voice Network is on a mission to streamline best practices across this profession because there are so many ethical concerns, right? Not even just concerns, but what's the word I'm looking for? Pitfalls, right? So many things that can really go wrong with this technology and with this capability. That standardization to some degree needs to happen, an agreement, if you will, right? An agreement of this is what we will and won't do as a practice.
Of course. So yeah, we can talk to John and have him on board for one of the sessions, and he'll be more than happy to because Open Voice Network is doing great things. I've been involved with them since last year, and so the whole goal, like you mentioned, is there are so many voice companies out there: Alexa, like Amazon Alexa, Google Assistant, Siri, Samsung, and now we also have automotive companies having their own assistants. So there are so many out there, hundreds and thousands of them and many other which we may not know. Now, everyone have their own, even verbiage, right? Alexa calls its voice applications as skills, Google calls it action, Samsung calls it capsule, and every company have their own verbiage as well. So we need to come to terms with
Yeah.
everything. Whether it is the terminology, whether it is the architecture, whether it is the privacy, the security, the ethical aspects of things, the inclusivity aspects of things. So there are so many things which we need to standardize before we can say, like, what, as the future is really going to be spoken. I keep saying that, right? As the future is going to be spoken, there's going to be a multi-billion-dollar market value for voice applications and voice assistant. We need to make sure that we are not in a position where everything is all over the place. So these standards are really helping. There are a lot of great experts from really big tech companies and small companies and a lot of independent designers and everyone who's part of this. So getting involved early on definitely helps, and all of our students volunteer. We guide them that you have to be, and it's great to see
So
students.
that's a mandate when you join this group. You have to be part of Open Voice Network. Is that part of the program?
Yeah, that's how we have, like, you have to be part of the Open Voice Network. There are a couple of folks we say you have to follow, meet them over coffee if you want to, because you have to start building your own network. I can help you with the functional skill sets required to become a conversational designer. You need to build your non-functional skill sets. You need to build your network. I can only guide you. This is how you have to do it. You still
Right.
need to do your part of the job.
That's right.
So that is how we have designed the program. So it's not just learning. It's not just like a bunch of videos which you have to go through and some quizzes in the end. We have a very immersive program throughout with a lot of these kind of interesting elements into the program, which really helps the student throughout to learn every aspect of conversation design and voice design and be successful. Now, if you're part of Open Voice Network, attending the meeting every week and contributing, you're not just doing your capstone, you're also doing additional things which is going to help you. So you're already visible to so many hiring managers out there who are looking out. And, if they have to look for someone, you will be the first choice. So that is how we have been creating our program with all of these minute elements, or you may feel like these are not so important, but these are all very important aspects which will help our students to succeed.
Great. Shyamala, we are at our 30-minute mark, so I just want to wrap this up by saying in future Voice Chat Fridays, we're going to try to have on more guests and talk about the technology, the ethics, and the processes behind conversational design and voice design. We're also going to be talking to maybe some of our students. Maybe we can get them on and have them talk about what they're learning and start showcasing some of their projects and their work. I think that's a good way to get them some exposure. And my suggestion to anybody who is looking at any bootcamp program or any training program, you need to qualify that program. So not just their placement stats, but it's really about are you going to be portfolio ready? Are you going to be able to walk into a job with some ideas and along with a lot of questions, right? So we're not going to necessarily graduate and be able to become leaders and managers, but you should be able to go into that interview, start in that organization with some ideas and some solutions on how to create conversational design and voice interaction. So there we have that. Another very fast Voice Chat Friday. You guys have a great weekend. Thank you so much for joining us, and feel free to reach out and connect with Shyamala or I at any time. We're here to help. Take care.
Thank you.